right. Woo! So it is such an exciting day. I want to welcome you all. I'm Kelly DiMartino. I've been with the city for 17 years, and the Mason Corridor is one of the first projects that I remember spending a Saturday morning in a conference room talking about how we were going to make this thing become a reality, and with folks like David Roy over here, and it is just so fun to see how far we've come and that we're actually here. So we have a lot of people that we want to acknowledge today and that we want to recognize, and I want to start by just acknowledging some of our elected officials who are here. So Mayor Karen Whitekanat, our Mayor Pro Tem, Jerry Horak, and then our council members, Bob Overbeck, Gino Campana, Wade Troxel, and Ross Kniff. And then I also want to recognize City Manager Darren Atterbury, who we're going to hear from in just a little bit. Our federal partners have been critical in this project, and so we want to thank Senator Mark Udall and Michael Bennett, who couldn't be here today, but we do have some representatives from their office. Pam Shattuck is here on behalf of Senator Udall, so thank you, Pam. And James Thompson is here on behalf of Senator Bennett. James, over here. And then Congressman Jared Polis was unable to attend, but I believe Jamie Grimm from his office is here, back here. Jamie, thank you for being here. And then I have to just do a quick check. Do we have state representatives here? Is Randy Fisher here? I'm not sure if he was able to be here this morning, and Joanne Janal not able to attend, but they sent their best and are celebrating with us in spirit. We have a few other dignitaries that I want to recognize and folks who helped make this project possible. So from the Colorado Department of Transportation, Mark Imhoff. Mark, where are you at? Over here. So we appreciate CDOT. From Colorado State University, a big partner in this, we have Dr. Tony Frank is here somewhere. Dr. From the Downtown Development Authority, Matt Robinault. Is Matt Robinault here? He was Downtown Development Authority. I know we have some downtown folks, so thanks. Let's thank our downtown partners. And then we have a whole host of city staff who have worked on this, but I want to just point out our Transport General Manager, Kurt Ravenschlag. Kurt, where are you at? A lot of people have put a lot of hours into this project from the community, from the city, and we are so thrilled to be celebrating with you here today. I am going to invite Mayor Karen Whitekanat forward to officially get this party started.
Thank you, Kelly. Hey, is this a great day or what? It is. And it is. The great city of Fort Collins, one of the best places in America to live, to work, to play, and to build a bus rapid transit system. Yes, thank you, and thank you, all the representatives who are here from our federal, state, and regional partners. You know, we couldn't do that without cooperation and them as partners, the Federal Transit Administration, the Colorado Department of Transportation, and our good friends at the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad have a major part. Colorado State University, the Downtown Business Association, the Downtown Development Authority, and of course the City of Fort Collins. This is about community. It's about partnerships and working together to achieve what is good and great for Fort Collins, and this is definitely one of those things. So, on behalf of the city, welcome, and it's a privilege to be here as we begin the MAX premiere. You know, this is an exciting time in Fort Collins as we start a new journey in mass transit. Today, when the bus leaves the station, you are going to be the first passengers to ride the first bus rapid transit system along the Front Range. Yeah. That's history. That's community. It was built by visionary leaders who had the foresight to dream big and the commitment to make those dreams a reality. Yeah, I'm looking at you, David. Today, we see the vision of a modern, sustainable transit system become a reality with the launch of MAX on the Mason Corridor. This 5-mile corridor includes many of our community's primary employment and activity centers, as well as incredible redevelopment opportunities, many which you've already seen springing to life. In addition to transit service, the MAX brings economic activity and opportunity. Redevelopment is taking place along the Mason Corridor during MAX construction, including some critical housing opportunities. Note those as you ride along on the transit today. To the east, to the west, in the downtown, incredible opportunities are springing up in our community. And this is just the beginning. The numerous public and private partnerships that help to make the dream of MAX a reality in Fort Collins are further proof of what we already know. Fort Collins is a special place and one of the best places in America. So thank you for being with us on this very special occasion as we celebrate the brand new MAX Bus Rapid Transit. Thank you, Fort Collins.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a project that has been in the works for some time, and there's a lot of vision and folks who showed some determination that made this happen. I recognized our current elected officials, but I want to just do a quick show of hands. I know we have some former elected officials who were here somewhere along the line in the last, 15, 17 years. Raise your hand if you were a former elected official who worked on this. All right, thank you so much for those of you who really were visionaries in making this happen. And we have another CDOT partner here as well, Kathy Gilliland from the CDOT Commissioners, and we want to recognize her too. So I am going to now ask Darren Atterbury, our city manager, to come forward, and he too has been involved with this project since almost the very beginning, I think. So we're going to ask him to say a few words.
Thanks, Kelly. So today, what an incredible turnout. I'm looking around and this community loves its community, doesn't it? This is such a great place. We are so fortunate to live here and to be part of this. And I just want to thank you for the privilege of being in this role in this great community. A couple of things I was thinking this morning. I have a script, and for those folks who write scripts for me know that I oftentimes go way off. So I'm gonna go way off that, Kelly, and just say a couple of things and just take a deep breath and savor the moment. This is a decade and a half's worth of work. I'm going to talk about stick-to-itiveness in a minute and talk about all kinds of things. This is a project, and in my opinion, this is about a community that says you get to think big. And this is a community that supports its local government. It's a community that debates hard. We have lots and lots of engagement, which makes this a wonderful place to be a city manager and to be a staff member. But this community allows its local government to think big and to partner and to think about things and talk about things like leverage. Council and staff, the mayors, this project has had, I've worked with 4 mayors as either assistant city manager or city manager on this project. Karen, Mayor Wyckonaut is here, and Mayor Hutchinson is here, Mayor Martinez and Mayor Azari. We had 4 mayors that are working on this, that have worked on this. We've had, I know Scott Mason is back there. He raised his hand. I said, Scott, were you on council like 30 years ago? Not really. It was just probably, sorry, Scott, that was intended to be a compliment, but probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago or so, and just, probably 25 or more council members who have had, and mayor pro tems who have had their fingerprints on this project. So what we've done is we've gone from think big to really detailed project management to opening up this kind of project today. And I also think about community building, and this community is really, really wonderful to work with about not only thinking big, but supporting what it takes to build a world-class community. I think about our initiatives around sustainability, and some of you, may sound like a broken record to hear about sustainability, but sustainability to the city of Fort Collins, we talk about the triple bottom line. That's the economic health of the community and financial, that's the environmental health, and that's the social health. And if there's a quintessential demonstration of social, environmental, and economic, it's this project right here. This is helping people move who might not have the opportunity to move around the community and access jobs and access daycare and all kinds of resources that they may need. This is about alternative transportation modes. We're not saying no to the car. This is complementing that. This is providing people an option for intermodal connections. And economically, we can't continue to pave and pave and pave and more asphalt and more concrete. We've got to look at more financial sustainable tools. So that's what this is as well. I think that this today is a story also about optimism, hope, and hard work. I think about David Roy. David was on the city council. Mayor Wyckoff mentioned him. I remember being in meetings with David and Kathleen Brackey and a few others where there was no one else in the room. There were people who believed and had hope in this. And again, 10, 15 years ago, there were some pretty empty rooms when we were talking about this. And so I want to say to the Dan Goulds and to the Tim Johnsons and to the David Roys, who are both the quintessential example of vision and stick-to-itiveness, really, my hat's off to you guys, and want to thank you for that leadership, both formal and informal leadership. When David Roy went off council a number of years ago, I promised him when this day came that I would give him a ride to the event. I got to honor that. I gave him a ride here. We had breakfast. He gave me a file. This is like his mini Mason file. His Mason corridor file is this big. But you guys, he gave me documents back from the 90s. And I want to just real quickly, we have a PowerPoint here from 2002 that we gave. Dr. Frank, Tony Frank is here, President of CSU. He's going to click my PowerPoint. Just kidding. Where are you, Tony? But I want to say that, so some frequently asked questions back in 2002, 14 years ago. Why are we pursuing this project? Well, we said 12 years ago to improve quality of life, to give better access to business and employment centers, to provide choice, convenience, connectivity, alternative transportation options. What's unique about this project? Again, 12 years ago, we said the opportunity for a multimodal corridor, which includes bicycle and pedestrian, which, by the way, we know builds a healthy community. And a healthy community is a happy community, and a happy community is a productive community. We know that opportunity for multimodal corridor, the bus rapid transit. We didn't want to exclude automobiles. This is not an anti-automobile initiative. This is a let's work all together. Let's work together with the modes. We want to work together with our railroad. Burlington Northern Santa Fe is here. What a great! We've had a lot of hard work, but what a great partner to have, and we look forward to future partnerships with BNSF. So on and on and on. That's language that we've been using for 12, 14, 16, 17 years on this project. Let me also say that I think that this is a story about stewardship. Bruce Hendy, our Chief Sustainability Officer, is right back there, and you guys, hand up. Bruce, as a planner, I was always trained to think out 20, 25 years. Bruce changed it for me personally as city manager and said, we've got to think out 75 to 100 years. And we won't be in this room, or 100 years from now, we won't be here. But we got to be looking out for those future generations. And I think this is about that. Another thing I wanted to talk about is transit. Transit, this is not a transit project. And this is not an economic health project. But when you meld the two, and Mayor Hutchinson was a master at this while he was as the mayor, talked about this, again, if we think about this as a bus corridor, it's half the story. The other half is how does it help us build a sustainable community over that 100-year period? What about economic health? What about the vibrancy of the core? What about stopping sprawl? What about those kinds of things? And I'm really, really pleased that Doug and this community embraced that and led that with great dignity. I will also say too, and this is really a reach out to my colleagues and the contractors that we had who built this facility over the last year and a half and negotiated all the contracts and acquired property and on and on and on and on. And the people who've been training the last 2 months to keep us safe as passengers, and the people who've written the emails and memos and the communications folks. I think that this is a story about implementation and detail, attention to detail. So let me just mention a couple names and then I promise I'll sit down at that point. I've been waiting for this for 10 years to have this presentation. So I told folks in the back, just sit down and thank you. So a couple folks that I've already mentioned, Dan Gould, who I talked to. Dan is a big thinker. Tim Johnson, I'm not sure if Tim is here, big thinker. Kathleen Brackey, stick-to-itiveness. I don't know if Kathleen is here, but she is. Where are you, Kathleen? Let's give Kathleen a hand. Tom Fraser. I'm not sure if Tom Fraser is here, one of the former general manager of Transport. Tom encouraged the staff, encouraged people to think big as well. I mentioned Kathleen. Rick Richter. Rick is our engineering, he's back there, engineering manager. Rick was in the, Rick I would say was in the details and implementation mode, and you and your team were phenomenal. Helen Minkelbrink is maybe here. Helen helped with negotiations with Burlington Northern Santa Fe and took the project, and everyone knows what the nod means. That is working with the railroad in any city is a tough issue, but I'll tell you what, Burlington Northern was a great partner through this process, but took hours and hours and hours of negotiation. Mark Jackson, you know, Mark fits in all three of my categories. The think big category, where are you, Mark? Somewhere probably, there's Mark. Can you hear me, Mark? I'm talking about you. Mark fits in the think big category, the stick-to-itiveness category, and the detail and implementation category. And Mark, I'm so thankful for your work in all this, and just can't say enough. Karen Cumbo, who's our Planning Development Transportation Director. Karen's been just an awesome, quiet, fun, energetic, deeply competent, compassionate leader in planning development transportation. She's been in the detail and implementation mode as well. Kurt, who was mentioned, who was right here, Kurt Ravenschlag, can't think of a better transit general manager to have right now and this time in Fort Collins. Kurt, thank you for your leadership. Erica Keaton, I'm sure, is here somewhere. Erica, details and implementation. Stand up. She is one of the folks that made this project happen, and I've been on several tours with her, and you know, mud on the boots and hard hats, and I'm so impressed with your style and your leadership and your attention to the budget and to the making sure that these parts all stay together and all that. So I really admire your work here, and this community owes you a big thank you for it. Okay, and then Keith, I know Keith Myers is here as well, probably by Erica somewhere, but Keith was, I guess I'm not sure what his title was. I would call him our owner's rep, and Keith used to be a city employee. He was hired he's over here somewhere. There's Keith. And Keith was on those tours with mud on the boots and hard hats and sending monthly emails talking about budget and spreadsheets and contractors and subs. And Keith, I will hire you anytime. I love your work. So thank you. Okay. So with that, I'm going to say, if we haven't said it already, you may know this is the biggest public works project in the history of Fort Collins, about an $87 million project. We've been talking about it for over 16 years. Just remember, this community may take a little while to get something done, but when we get it done with vision, we get it done with great alignment with the community, and we get it done with great attention to details. And for all the partners and current council members and past and mayors and community members that have sent encouraging emails and written great letters and who are going to be using it, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love Fort Collins.
Thank you, Darren. All right, so Denise tells me my job is really to make sure that we get this first bus out the gate at 11 a.m. So I have a hard start. So we have a couple other folks that we want to recognize and hear from. As you experience this, you've heard a lot of talk about detail and quality. I want to point out also just the fun of the experience. And our Art in Public Places program contributed to this. And I know I've seen Ellen here. I also want to mention Robert Tooley and Jim Green, both who did visual and audio components of the art. So as you explore the corridor, pay attention to their work. It's really pretty amazing. So let's real quickly thank them. All right, our last speaker this morning is from the Federal Transit Administration, Linda Gerke. I'm going to ask her to come on up. She serves as the Region 8 Administrator, and we are really pleased to have her here today help us officially start MAX. Linda?
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge my staff that's here. I've got Dave Beckhouse, Tiffany Gallegos, Larry Squires. Raise your hands. And did I forget somebody? Who? Oh, Tony Louie. Sorry, Tony Louie from our Washington, D.C. office. So he flew all the way out here to be part of this event. So I know you guys are in a hurry, and I can read really fast rather than try to improvise. So I thought I would just read the remarks so you guys can get on the bus. Yeah, there you go. It's only 2 pages, so it's not very long. So it's great to be here with you today to celebrate Fort Collins on the Move. All along the Mason Corridor, people are turning out and joining in the celebration, bringing a real sense of energy to the day. I want to congratulate you on the extraordinary partnership that you've brought to us, including the state of Colorado, the city of Fort Collins, Colorado State University, and downtown partners, along with BNSF's cooperation to make alignment intersections and grade crossing adjustments. I just thought I'd throw that in. I'd also like to acknowledge the businesses that have been impacted by the construction. Thanks for your tolerance, and you'll reap the benefits. Fort Collins and Transfort had a spectacular team of employees and the city, consultants and contractors that work proactively with our staff. It's greatly appreciated, and the results are shown here today at this opening. Although the Federal Transit Administration's Deputy Administrator, Teresa McMillan, had committed to being here at the podium saying these words, she's had an ongoing family emergency and could not attend. If she was here, she'd say, "We applaud Fort Collins' vision of offering truly seamless transportation choices for thousands of residents, from the new MAX BRT line to the other local and regional transport routes and the extensive bike and ped system. The future of the city and our nation depends on making sustained investments in projects like this one that promote economic growth and opportunities for generations to come." So, congratulations for the work you've done together to make MAX BRT a reality. It's a great pleasure to join you in this celebration today, so let's go ride. 2 minutes?
That is my kind of presenter right there. All right, so at this time you have all been patiently waiting, and we are now going to officially turn our attention to MAX. Are you ready to go ride? We are going to have community members and some of our visionaries and our mayor and council members on bus 1, and Kurt Ravenschlag is going to officially wave the bus off.